Z93 Morning Buzz with Brittany and Balzer. This morning, we are joined by Kaplan's President and Global Head of Corporate Learning, Dr. Andrew Temte, CFA. Good morning.
Yay.
Well, you're obviously a friend of ours as well, but now you are so much more than what I just mentioned. You're also a published author.
Yeah, can you believe it? It only took 57 years.
It's okay. You know, sometimes it takes a little longer in life to do the things you want to do, but I actually have the book right here. It's called Balancing Act. So before we get into the book, we kind of wanted to talk to you for those who maybe aren't familiar with what you do and who you are. Can you kind of give us a brief synopsis of what led you to this point?
Yeah, so some folks would know me as the former Chief Executive Officer of Kaplan Professional. Last year, during the pandemic, we took the three divisions of Kaplan in North America and put them together into a single unit, and you don't need three CEOs to run a single unit. So what that shift allowed me to do was to focus on an area of my deep passion, which is corporate learning, upskilling, reskilling. I've been very fortunate to join a consortium with the World Economic Forum, with another one with the Conference Board, and so I'm getting real unique insights into the global retraining, reskilling, upskilling needs. World Economic Forum, for example, believes that we will need to reskill 1 billion people by 2030. That about 50% of people will need some degree of upskilling or reskilling in their work over the next 10 years.
Wow.
So we could talk literally for hours about what led me here, but I think that's enough for now.
So you're a chief financial analyst, correct? What does that mean exactly? And is that something you always wanted to do and teach?
Well, it's Tracy, it's a chartered financial analyst. It's an arcane, very specialized designation for financial analysts. These are the folks who are telling financial advisors the stocks to buy and sell. So these are the folks who are doing the deep research, writing the research reports, managing large portfolios. And I didn't always know that I wanted to be a financial analyst. What I did know after my experience at UWL back in the 1980s is that I wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to be an educator. My parents, both my mom and my dad, were educators of various varieties. My dad was at WTC for years. My mom was a corporate trainer. So I come by the education field, honestly through my family ties. But it was a guy named Keith Sharoni in the economics department at UWL that lit the fire of teaching. And then I got to the University of Iowa to do master's and PhD down there. And I met this guy named Carl Swayzer, and he and I hit it off right away. We started a business called the Swayzer Study Program for the CFA exam. And by 1990, I was starting to train people how to become financial analysts and how to attain the Chartered Financial Analyst designation.
So, Andy, I know a lot of what you do is you are teaching people basically how to be successful, right? Is that a thing? Like teaching success?
Yeah, we could get into a real big philosophical argument about whether success can be taught or not. I believe it can be framed, and it needs success needs a better frame, because success to a lot of people means success for me, the individual. And the name of the book is Balancing Act. So let's talk about a balancing act. Success really is the success between you, the individual, your community, and the ideals that society places on you about what the definition of success is. You know, is it Kylie Jenner, or is it some ideal that you can never actually achieve? And we all kind of strive for these idyllic definitions of success. We don't sit and think deeply and carefully about what success means to us because we're chasing that ideal. And in many cases, the community gets left out of the equation because we need to balance all three of those things. Surely, looking at an ideal for success may be constructive and may be valuable to you, but at the same time, got to recognize that you're really likely never going to get to that ideal state. So let's think really carefully about my skill set today, what I know, my knowledge, my skills, my abilities, how I can contribute to a business or build a business myself. And that means success for me, the individual. But then how does that all fit into the community? Because what we've learned probably the most over the last year is that going it alone and being a lone wolf is not good for the community. We've got to put a piece of cloth over our face. We've got to protect our brothers and sisters out in the community. So back to the point of success, my success should consider the success of the overall community, because without the two working together, you're basically a free agent. And ultimately, if we all think of ourselves, that equation will break down. So it's a balancing act.
That's awesome.
You know, and Andy, when you talk about your specific success, you know, what are some important lessons you've learned, or maybe a defining moment you had that played a significant part in building your personal success?
Yeah. So what I've found, the book starts off with a statement about success without balance can be a real disastrous thing, and can be actually worse than failure with balance. Because if you're a balanced individual, taking into consideration lots of different perspectives, got a good life and work balance, you're going to turn any failure that you have into a learning opportunity that will then be used to build the next, that next step in your life toward whatever definition of success means to you. If you're unbalanced, like I have been in multiple times in my life, yes, you might achieve that personal success that we talked about, but you're most likely going to do that at the expense of others. And that's where that community bit comes in. And I don't regret or cry in my soup all day, but I do lament over the people that I've hurt, especially the people who have been closest to me, that I have hurt while I've been out trying to achieve this more idyllic version of success, and leave others behind, hurt the people I love. Those are the lessons that, gosh, I just really don't want to do that again. So how can I shift, pivot, adjust? How can I get my mental agility to kick in to do things differently?
That's awesome. So do you think, Andy, now, I mean, you've achieved so much in your life, you have achieved so many successes. What's next? I mean, are you content? Do you want to do more? What's kind of next for you?
Yeah, so I'm deeply content, but wildly restless. So, think about those two things, being deeply content, but always kind of pushing on the edge of the envelope. as I mentioned before, I'm 57 years old. I'm starting to get to that point in my life where it's much more important for me to be focusing on the community, on building up others, and really packaging up the life's lessons that I have accumulated and pass them on to others, so that folks of younger generations can maybe avoid some of the landmines that I stepped right on and blew a whole bunch of things up as a result. So yeah, absolutely, I want more, but I want more for the people around me, because when I want more for the people around me, I get more, I get more as a result. That kind of more self-centered version of me, I'm actively working on leaving that in the past and moving forward, with a much more community-minded viewpoint, and looking to build others up. And that's a lot of what this book is about.
Yeah, and you do that in your personal life as well with your band, The Remainders. I mean, you guys, we all know who you are here in this town, and you guys are always so good to the community. You always tie that into your gigs, and I think that's a really cool thing.
Yeah, it's just loads of fun. We're the Remainders 5, but now we've got 6 with Greg with Greg joining us, Greg Balfany on the saxophone. So we're kind of 5.5 on stage at all times. And we're just up there to have a lot of fun, teach younger generations about the greatest music on the planet, which is the music that was created from about 1972 to 1984. Yeah, there's some good music outside those bounds, but come on. So, let's all build our community up through the joy of performing and listening to classic rock.
That's awesome. And with your book, The Balancing Act, it comes out a week from today, which is Tuesday, April 6th. And can you maybe just synopsize your book? Is there what are we going to learn from the book?
Yeah, so the book is pointed squarely at prospective leaders, young leaders, existing leaders, individual contributors in businesses that want to move ahead in their lives, and just people that want to get better balance between work and life. Specifically, leaders are going to learn that vulnerability and authenticity is really important to the future of management, that command and control systems are dead or dying, and we're moving into a much more collaborative human phase of building and operating businesses. So you're going to get a lot about continuous improvement, and you're going to get a lot about lifelong learning and how we need to change the mindsets, especially of all of us, that learning never stops. Mm-hmm. And that the future of work will be one where computers that can think at low but ever increasing cognitive levels will take more and more of the mechanical parts of our jobs. So what do we have left as humans? We have our human selves to bring into the world of work. We have our relationships. So we've got to be the best humans that we can. We've got to have a real strong portfolio of human skill to be successful in the world of work. That's what you're going to get out of this book.
That is fantastic. Well, as soon as Brittany's done with her copy, I'm going to read it, and I can't wait. Very excited for all of your success. And the book, Balancing Act, comes out on April 6th, which is 1 week from today. How excited are you to have a book that's going to be out in days?
Well, it's kind of nerve-wracking because I do get pretty naked and transparent in this book. And it's going to be out there for everybody. So it's a lot of fun to think about it. And I've started to get the first ratings back in from reviewers who
Yeah.
I don't know. And it's very satisfying to be getting some thumbs up from folks that I don't know about the work. So if you're listening to this, I'm really interested in your perspectives. Please find me on LinkedIn, drop me a line, and let me know what you think.
And Andy, where do we get the book? How do we get it?
So it's on Amazon. So just go to Amazon. Go to smile.amazon.com and pick your favorite charity so that
Yeah.
while you're shopping on Amazon, you're actually contributing back to your community. But you can find it on Amazon. You can find it at Target. Barnes and Noble, all sorts of book outlets.
Awesome. Well, congratulations. And thank you so much for joining us this morning. We really appreciate it. And we look forward to whatever comes next from you, because I think there's going to be a lot more. So
Thank you so much.